Hi, I'm Olivia Gioc, and I'm here to explain my lesson plan project for ITEC 7430, Dr. Shields class Spring 2020. For this project, I created a lesson for third grade students. This included social studies, colonial America, narrative writing, and informational research. Within these integrated lessons and activities, it also incorporated knowledge constructor, creative communicator, and global collaborator technology standards. In this project, the students were introduced to technology tools that were used to teach, assess, and allow them to create their own final product. The three tools included an interactive Nearpod lesson that was used to teach and assess them, Weebly blog posts that allowed them to communicate their ideas as well as assess their understanding, and Podomatic podcasts, which allowed them to create a podcast as a group as their final project. The first interactive tool that they worked with was Nearpod, which is a student-paced interactive lesson and assessment tool. In this Nearpod lesson, the students started off by reading about colonial America, which this also allows it to be read aloud to them if needed for ELL and differentiation. The students watched a vocabulary music video which helped support auditory learners. It also had a vocabulary matching with photographs, which helps visual learners, as well as virtual reality field trip that the students were able to interact with. There is an open-ended question that allowed the students to think critically and apply their understanding. And then there's also an interactive map where the students were able to label the colonies in the different regions. There's a quiz that assesses their understanding and provides the teacher feedback. And there's also a poll where the students rate how comfortable they are describing what life is like in a colonial America, which also helps the teacher make small groups and provide extra support if needed. After that, the students visited Kopp Digital Library, which is a resource that students in Cobb County can access to research and find digital resources. Students could search the resources where they could find this book titled Life in the Original 13 Colonies, which then once they open, they can listen to it be read aloud, they can search through it, they can highlight, and they can find information for their blog post. They can also fill out this note-taking sheet as they go. Once they have their information collected, they take on the perspective of one colonist, and they are going to write diary entries based on this colonist, a day in the life of a shipbuilder, a day in the life of a blacksmith. Once they've written their 3 blog posts, they will comment on 2 peers' posts. They will be provided a checklist to follow along as they're posting, as well as a rubric that they will be assessed with. So here's an example of what a blog post would look like. Here's a sample blog post, written diary entry, as well as having some images and videos included in their blog post. After that, here is the rubric as well as the checklist for students to use as reflection as they move through their blog post. The students will be then grouped in small groups based on their region, and they will create a podcast episode. And this episode will be used for students to share information about their region as well as their job and how their job helps make their region be successful. And the students will be using Podomatic, which is a podcast tool that allows people to record their own podcasts and then share them. And the students will be graded on a podcast rubric, as well as given this template to help guide them with their planning. For an extension, student groups can create more than one episode, so it'll be more of a podcast series than just one episode. So in closing, I have not had the opportunity to implement this lesson yet due to COVID-19, but I'm looking forward to implementing this with my students, and I just want to encourage teachers to try new tools such as Weebly blog posting and Podomatic and Nearpod for interactive lessons, and I'm excited to help support teachers in my school use these tools and implement this lesson next year.